meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock, according to Mr. Nova's watch.
That's right.
Everybody's here. Any comments from audience? Yeah, not the peanut gallery. The audience. Okay.
The audience, thank you.
Okay. We Clock says 7, so we're ready to start. All right. We have the entire board here. Student reps is Raphael Arison and Caitlin Ghana, both here. Thank you for coming. Raphael, how about leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, closed session. Personnel matters, Mr. Nava motion, Dr. Ball second, and the board approved the appointment of Rebecca Esparza as Director 3 of Transportation. Effective date to be determined by the following vote of 7 yes, 0 no. And we had a conference with legal counsel. Litigation is with case, McFarland motion and Mr. Stroh second. The board approved case OAH number 20240900132 by the vote of 7 yes and 0 no. Oh, the good part. Cheryl Roth and Marie
Confessing, no one ever says it right.
What is it?
Marie Confessing
Join me at the podium, please.
and Kuwabing.
Maria, if you would just make sure after the proclamation that you just introduce each, that would be wonderful.
Because he knows that I'm going to butcher your names.
I didn't say
Good,
that.
good call. This is National School Psychology Week, November 11th through the 15th. And we have a proclamation for you. Whereas children and youth learn best when they are healthy, supported, and receive education that enables them to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. And whereas schools can more effectively ensure that all students are able to learn when they meet the needs of the whole child and provide integrated, multi-tiered supports. And whereas the positive educational and social outcomes for all children and youth are possible only in a society and schools within it that affirm and value the diversity of each child. And whereas school psychologists are trained to assess student and school-based barriers to learning and individual strengths, utilize data-based decision-making, implement research-driven prevention and intervention strategies, and evaluate outcome and improve accountability. And whereas school psychologists take steps to foster a school climate that is supportive, inclusive, safe, accepting, and respectful towards all persons. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lodi Unified Board of Education joins the nation in celebrating November 11th through 15th of 2024 as National School Psychology Week by taking this opportunity to acknowledge the hard work of the district school psychologists as we continue to recognize, encourage, and support those who have positive impact on our students and educational system in Lodi Unified School District. We as members of the Lodi Unified School Board of Education do hereby proclaim the week of November 11th through 15th, 2024 as National School Psychology Week. Sign this day. And you can pronounce those names.
I will.
With my name, I don't even feel guilty.
Good evening, board members. Superintendent Young. It's my honor and privilege to introduce our lead school psychologist, Cheryl Rolfe. And Pua Bang, another school psychologist in the district. They do amazing work for kids every day. We are very blessed to have a fantastic group of school psychologists working in Lodi Unified School District.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. At this point, we have a public hearing. I'm going to declare the Lodi People Personnel Association, LPPA, reopeners for the 24-25 year open. Are there any board comments? Public comments? And I declare this public hearing closed. Speaking of comments, Raphael, do you have any comments? McNair High School?
Yes, sir. Good evening, President Canaxit, members of the board, and Mr. Young. I'm Raphael Zamarassaran, the ASB president of McNair High School, and I'm very excited to share with you our highlights of last month and this month. Last week, we had our Spooky Spirit Week from October 28th to November 1st with Halloween-themed dress-up days for our students and staff. Monday's theme was Monster Monday, where everyone dressed up as monsters. Tuesday was Throwback Tuesday, where students dressed up as their past Halloween costumes. Wednesday brought our campus with zombies with a theme of Walking Dead Wednesday. Thursday was Tricky Thursday with everyone dressing up in their Halloween costumes. And we finished the week off with Freaky Friday, where students from each grade changed their class colors. A special thank you goes to our linker who organized the annual Escape the Night Haunted House on October 30th in our atrium. It was a success as we were able to bring in a few scares to our student body, and I also had the chance to join in as a scare actor myself. The McNair Theater Department held its 6th annual Hogwarts Hullabaloo on November 2nd. We had a great turnout from the community who enjoyed the world of Harry Potter come to life in our atrium. I am also proud to share that I was also involved in this production, acting as one of the Slytherin students. And our first staff versus student challenge will be held from November 19th to 20th, where students and teachers will be playing volleyball on the 19th and Family Feud on the 20th in our gyms. And now for some staff and student recognition. Congratulations to Ms. Major Davis and our JROTC cadets for placing second in their color guard competition last week. And a big congratulations to Eris Icon for winning first place in her singles tournament last week. She will be heading off this week to Roseville to represent San Joaquin County to compete against other counties. Best of luck to her side. And a big shout out to Mr. Jason Bergmeyer and our linker for pulling off another successful haunted house and maze. And a special thanks to Ms. Valerie Fitzgerald, staff and facilities, and all the students involved in our annual Hogwarts Hullabaloo. And we're also very pleased to have Mr. Young, who will be visiting our campus this Friday, November 8th. And now on to sports. Football held their senior night against Bear Creek last Friday, November 1st. We were able to win 28-2, however, we fell short and couldn't make it to the playoffs. And the girls volleyball made it to the playoffs, winning against Grace Davis on October 28th, but we lost against Vacaville, who was the number 2 team of the league. And the girls tennis played their league games on October 31st and November 1st of last week. And last week, boys and girls soccer had their tryouts all week from October 28th to November 1st. And boys and girls basketball are currently having their tryouts going on from yesterday until today, till 6 p.m. And for our upcoming events, our health occupation students together with American Red Cross will host the annual Winter Blood Drive on December 6th. And that's all I have for McNair. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
President Knackstead, members of the board, Superintendent Young. To start off at Lodi High, all of our fall sports have made it into postseason. I would like to recognize our girls golf who won TCAL's league title by going undefeated and are currently competing in the divisional tournament. Our girls volleyball team finished second in TCAL's. Our flag football team finished second in their league. Our girls tennis team finished in third place. Our boys water polo team won the league championship. Our girls cross country team won the league championship. Lastly, for sports, football just ended the regular season with their game against Edison, which was also our senior night, along with cheer and drill, and are off to their championships. Sorry, playoffs. There we go. Our winter sports tryouts are now in full swing. At Lodi, we have been holding athletic luncheons. Our athletic director, Coach Duenes, is working with student government to create monthly meetings with 2 representatives from each team in season and student government. We would like to extend a standing invitation to our board to attend our luncheons. We are looking for our next guest speaker, and we would like to hear from our board members. You will get to hear more about our athletics on campus. Our band recently hosted their 46th annual Grateful Classic over this past weekend with Tokay. Our clubs, Mecha and Multiculture, put on a Dia de los Muertos event during both lunches, consisting of music, activities, and presentations from our AP language classes. We also finished celebrating Red Ribbon Week. This year's Red Ribbon Week theme was Life is a Movie, film drug-free. The theme was a call to action to speak out in support of health choices. Lastly, I want to give a special thank you to Superintendent Young for attending our last game and showing your support. Thank you.
Good, thank you. All right. Ms. Young, do you have?
I have nothing to share.
Really?
It's election night.
Okay, there. That's
I
not.
have nothing further.
Okay. All right, let's move on then. We have comments from the employee groups. Each employee group representative shall limit their comments to 5 minutes, please. Coming up to bat first is?
Rodrigo Contreras, CSEA President. President Knaxton, members of the board, Superintendent Young. First off, I'd like to express thank you for relations. Our negotiations have been a lot more pleasant. Thank you. I would like to thank you, the board, for approving the health and benefits part. I know that it's a one-time. Hopefully the board understands that district, Lodi Unified, was lacking in this category compared to surrounding districts and keeps it moving forward. We look forward into resolving more district issues and working on contract language. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Knaxton, members of the board, Superintendent Young, Lisa Wilkins with LEA, and excuse me, this wind is just like getting to me, so I turned to cough, it's not me. And I heard about the bronchitis going around at McNair and the pneumonia at Lodi. It's like, oh God, yeah. Anyway, so LEA is going to have their first bargaining session this week. I'm hoping it is pleasant. The weekly early release committee will be also meeting this week for their second meeting. And there might be an issue about a proposed survey that goes out which could be considered bargaining away from the table. So I will definitely have a meeting with Jen Tillett about that. The other thing that's kind of bugging me this week is a few years ago, Lodi had a huge effort to take away portables at school sites, and now they're coming back in droves. I keep seeing them on the board agenda. I'm hearing it from my members that in a supposed area of declining enrollment, why are we getting portables at these sites? And why do we have sites such as Larson, which is bursting at the seams with 900 students for an elementary school, when we have schools down the road where we do have available space and those kids could be overflowed? And I think that's really something the board needs to look at, because putting in portables is not cheap. It's not cheap. That money could be spent giving our kids, trying to find a deaf hard of hearing teacher, or helping a teacher become certified in deaf hard of hearing, because we have no more deaf hard of hearing certificated teachers in our special ed department. That money could be spent better with maybe putting more filters in the classroom so that kids aren't getting sick. And teachers too. I heard about 3 teachers that are out with COVID right now. There are so many more things that we could be using that money on that would be better for our students, our teachers, and the learning environment in general. Finally, my comment is, it's election day. I voted. I hope all of you guys did too. Last year, I know I put some of the high schools in touch with the League of Women Voters to help them do voting registration events at the high school. And if you guys, I'm telling you now, if that's something you want to do, contact me. I've got the contacts. Then I kind of just step out of it, but I just do the introduction at least. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Can I ask you for a clarification with due respect to Ms. Livingston about the transfer of students from Larson? I understand we have a lot more in Larson. Is there an issue with parents not wanting? Why are we not having these transfers? If possible.
So, members of the board, at the beginning of the year, Larson School had an additional large number of students in a specific grade. It is an area where there's growth. That is part of why Edith Holbert is looking at that Gander property as the next move in that southwest section of Lodi. But it has been a large school, but right now it is bursting at the seams. In order to mitigate some of that, we did authorize to put portables there for the time being, the goal of which still remains to eventually open the Gander property so that we can then look at boundaries and take care of some of the large numbers at that specific school site.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're working on it.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to,
Mr. Can I
Yes,
say,
yes,
I
sir.
just have a question for Edith on the portables. Are we having more portables on our schools?
We are planning on adding 2 at Larson to deal with the capacity. There are some other special project portables, such that are funded with IEEP, preschool, not kindergarten, excuse me, preschool. And then we're also looking at a proposal this evening that has portables.
So we are increasing the portables because of the enrollment?
The only place we're increasing portables for enrollment is at Larson. The rest are special program portables with a very dedicated purpose.
Thank you.
If I could add one more thing, Mr. Nava, the Mosier site, when the preschool TK initiative came into existence, the way in which that site was set up, TK was away from other students, and so on the backside, they were going to put those portables in as part of that IEEP grant funding to make sure that we can house our preschool TK in the same section, because we also have inclusion going on there as well. So this is to keep everyone together at that site.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
okay, moving on to comments from the public. At this time, we have a 20-minute time period that has been set aside for the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. The board cannot engage in dialogue about the public comments because of restrictions placed by the California Brown Act. If you choose to speak, give us your first and last name, any public comment. Oh, I keep forgetting. Sorry. How about, is it Victor Ward? Here.
Good evening, board, members of the community, superintendent. My name is Victor Ward, and I wanted to speak about Proposition 28. As you probably know, in 2022, the voters of the state of California passed Proposition 28, which guaranteed 1% of a school's budget to go to the expansion of the arts program. In 2019, the California Department of Education expanded their 4 core arts programs, music, dance, visual arts, and theatrical arts, to include a fifth, which is media arts. The California Arts Education Framework defines media arts as this. Media arts is a dynamic, evolving discipline that integrates creativity, technology, and critical analysis, equipping students with the skills they will need to thrive in today's and tomorrow's media-saturated world. Now, we all know that the governor banned cell phones on school campuses. And I understand the heart behind it. I used to teach in the classroom. When I taught in the classroom, there were just dumb phones. And you didn't want the dumb phones in the class either. So I clearly get why you don't want a smartphone in the class. But I would probably say I think it's misguided just a bit. The governor and the thought behind it is they're trying to prevent the phone from invading the educational world. Media arts thinks about the educational world infiltrating and invading the phone. And that's what my company is all about. It's about media arts. We are a media arts company. We've done virtual reality, we've done multi-view streaming, we've done live streaming all around the world. We've created a very robust 36-week lesson plan from kindergarten through 12th grade, and we comport with all the Proposition 28 requirements. Obviously, there's a lot of space between now and the contract, but I just wanted to come, address myself, and hopefully maybe meet with the superintendent and see who I need to follow up with, and so that you could place a name with a face and a face with the company. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Terry. Let's see, who else? Bill Yates.
Good evening, President Knaxek, Superintendent Young, members of the board. I wanted to come and first off say I didn't realize it was Psych Week, but what a great week to be here. As those who were here even bless my family and their work with my children. They really are great, and thank you for doing that on part of all the special ed teachers who really depend on them. I wanted to share with you some great accomplishments from Sutherland and our structure team. We got to send 3 of our kids right before break to Mild Mod. That's a big win for us. That's like huge. That's how we establish wins. And I also wanted to share with you some an issue that's going on in special ed throughout the district that needs to be fixed because it's a problem between 2 parts of the district, personnel and special ed. The way paras get hired at school sites is by the school site, not by special ed. And the pause or the additional adult support that comes for our children that really need this help is from the special ed department. They're mostly being contracted out with Emeritus right now. Emeritus has what they call recruiters. That's who when they say they're going to call their supervisors, they're called recruiters. I think we need that for our own district. But let me tell you about the problem with paras. We have a para right now who, one moved away. We quickly interviewed. Our principal was on it. There at Sutherland, we were ready to go. And now it's past 40 days, and that lady has still not been hired. Other organizations who have the same security issues that we have can hire people in 2 to 3 weeks. We take 2 months to get people hired. And when we say, well, we need somebody now, because those, not having a parent in the classroom is like not having an air conditioner or not having desks. Not that they're equipment, but they are vital to running a classroom where you move from babysitting to teaching. And it's invaluable to do teaching because that's how we move our kids on to Mild Mod or other places. And we can't get them fast enough. Emeritus, we asked them, okay, can you send us a Emeritus employee to help us through that time? We'll train them for a couple weeks. But they don't come, and one department says, well, that's not our job, and the other department says, that's not our job. And then people come to me and say, can we make things work? I can make things work, but teaching suffers. And that's just on our own experience, and I can tell you, as I've communicated with teachers around the district, that is still the same problem. And really, board, because it's two departments, I need you to fix it. So please, as Dr. Ball called us out to do, help us fix that part of special ed. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to consent agenda A then. The public may address the board on consent agenda A, which is routine business. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Is there anybody that would like to talk about consent agenda A? Okay, board, is there any, or staff, do you want to pull anything from consent agenda A?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve consent agenda 8.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Did you get those?
Who's the second?
Mr. Nava and Mrs. McFarland. You got it.
I got it.
You got it. You were louder.
I was louder, obviously.
Okay, we got first and second. Board voted. Oh, student vote.
Aye.
Aye.
And board vote. Okay, and consent agenda A passes 7-0. Okay, consent agenda B, and again, the public may address consent agenda B items, which is student matters. Each speaker shall limit the comments to 3 minutes. Is there anybody that would like to speak on consent agenda B? Okay, board,
Second.
McFarland and Nava. Okay, students, you do not vote on this particular item, so board vote, please. Okay, pass it 7-0. Okay, other action items. First one is AB 1200 documents for Lodi Unified School District's employee groups. Classified School Employees Association, Mrs. Juarez, you have.
Thank you, Mr. Conexon. Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Young. This serves as a statutory public disclosure of the collective bargaining agreement as detailed following to this board item, OAI-2, in accordance with AB 1200 and Government Codes 3547.5 and 3540.2. This agreement has a total projected cost to the district of approximately $4.9 million. This includes the 1.1 ongoing salary and benefit increases and a one-time expense of $3.8 million allocated for health and welfare benefits for calendar year 2025. Thank you.
All right, good.
Point of clarification, did you state the 1.07?
So the 1.07, that's equivalent to the 1.1 ongoing salary. That's a dollar.
Okay, got it.
Dollar, the cost of the 1.07.
Got it, including statutory benefits.
Correct,
Got it.
correct.
Any public comments? Student comments? Okay, public comments.
Again, thank you for the health and benefits part. That's something that Lodi Unified has been lacking behind. In order for the board, Lodi Unified, to attract qualified members, this is a big plus. I hope you guys can keep it going, and that will solve a lot of, or help solve a lot of the issues that Lodi Unified has. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Student comments? Board comments?
I move we approve this resolution, please.
Nava and McFarland. Okay, student vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Board vote, please. Okay, passes 7-0. Other action item number 2, ratification of the tentative agreement with California School Employees Association. Mrs. Church.
Board, before you is the tentative agreement with the California School Employees Association for your approval.
Okay. Is there any public comments? We good on that?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve this ratification.
Second. Students, did you have a comment before we move on? Okay, so it's Nava and Porter. Okay, student vote? Aye.
Aye.
And board vote, please. Passes 7-0. Okay, other action item number 3 is the ratification of a memorandum of understanding, MOU, with California School Employees Association regarding bus attendant work year. Mrs. Church.
Members of the board, before you is an MOU for the bus attendant work year. It's been ratified and it's for your approval.
Okay. Any public comments? Motion approved. Good.
Second.
Okay. Students, do you have any comments before we move on? Okay. And board, okay, who was first? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Porter? Okay.
Second.
Porter. Okay, student vote. Aye.
Aye.
Board vote. Passes 7-0. Okay, other action item number 4 is a resolution 2024-123. Award of contract and authorization to begin work on the Mosher Elementary School portable classrooms and play yard project. Number 6128-4316-250-14. Mrs. Holbert.
President Connexted, members of the board, before you is an action item for the award of the lowest and best responsive bidder for the early education program portable and play structure at Mosher.
Okay, any public comments?
More of a question. So since this is for early childhood, is this portable classroom going to include a bathroom?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments? Student comments?
I move we approve, sir.
Second.
Student vote? Aye.
Aye.
Board vote? Passes 7-0. Okay. Got a couple of reports. First report is Proposition 28, Annual Report for the Joe Serra Charter School. Mr. Dawson,
I'll go ahead and take the one. Just so you know, this was brought to you before, but the CDE determined that they didn't want Joe Serna, which is a dependent charter, to go with the rest of the schools. So they have directed us to take it back separately. So it's like a box of baseball cards. They wanted us to pull that one card out separately from the other ones. So that is solely the reason we are bringing that back before you. And nothing needs to be done other than the CDE needs to know that we brought it back separately. But you've already seen this.
Yeah, just why would they just...
Because the charter school runs has its own advisory committee and makes decisions separate from, although same as each school site did with Prop 28.
Motion approved.
This is just a report. This is a report item.
Sorry.
But next week you can do that. Any other comments from the public or students?
No, I don't know about that. Okay.
Sorry. I guess I have a question on this. Again, Lisa Wilkins, LEA president. So they had to give a report, but it doesn't look like there's no teachers or anybody who's working to fulfill what the Proposition 28 Arts and Music grant gives. So I'm kind of confused as to what's going on there with their Prop 28 funds, because it doesn't give me any information. Thank you.
It's up to you, Mr. Knaxted, if you want me to respond.
Yeah, sure, I think you can respond.
The only thing I can tell you is this is the exact same report they brought before. Any questions about Joe Cerna that you have specifically with that report, you are welcome to reach out to Alejandra Estrada, the principal, so she can share in detail.
All righty. Any of the board comments? Okay, thank you. Moving on to next report item, which is the revision of Board Rule 6142, Curriculum Council. Dr. Horton.
Mr. Knax, member of the board, if it's okay with you, we would like to go to the next one. We had those two backwards. The details of the third item kind of give you some details as to why we're bringing potential revisions to this board rule, just to bring you up to speed. So if it's okay with you, Mr. Knax?
I have no problem with that.
Okay. All right, so we'll go to the proposed action to build the college and career indicators.
There we go. Who's up on that? Dr. Horton. Okay.
Board President Knax, members of the board, want to direct your attention to the report that we put together. There are 3 items, and this is a direct response to the study session that we had last week, and wanted to bring back some items to get to the board to begin getting to work on the college career indicator and how to improve that. Taking them from top to bottom, the first one that I want to bring to the board's attention is Board Rule 6142 and explain the changes that are proposed in that language. Reason being, when we had the first curriculum council meeting of the school district, while I was there, I asked the question of the members of the council in a kind of an unofficial vote if they felt that it would be more beneficial to put members of the committee, members of the council in a position to make very informed decisions. And in particular, if we could consider a division between the secondary council and an elementary council, or more specifically a TK8 council and a grade 7-12. So if you notice, there's a proposal to have an overlap with both committees so that the articulation between the elementary curriculum to the middle school curriculum has very informed personnel that are there. And the same is true at the secondary level, to have grades 7-8 articulate with the high school, so that when we speak about issues that are germane to either side, you have people that are a little bit more informed based on their expertise. What I mean by that is, if you consider, it's somewhat difficult, not impossible, but difficult to have a high school English teacher making decisions on early literacy things for grade 1. They're just not in the most informed position. It doesn't mean that they don't have the intellect or the wherewithal to understand it. It's just they're not in the classroom every day with those students to understand exactly what makes those things tick. The same thing would be true going the other way. It's very difficult to put a first grade teacher in a position of trying to make decisions for high school articulation of courses, trying to understand the UCA through G list, how those things operate, how those things function. So floating that idea to the council was overwhelmingly received positively, to increase the size of the curriculum council, to double it and then split it, so that you could operate one council that would function as a TK8 council and one council that function as a 7-12. So that's one part of that rationale. The other part that you will notice in the changed language is it also increases the number of LEA members that are able to serve on the committee. So they move from what was 14 members to 16. One of the things that the council members also commented about was to increase the transparency of how we make those decisions and have more voices in the room. Felt that that was a very good idea as well. On page 2, you'll notice a change to the body of the councils would be, we would have to increase by adding one counselor, so that you have one counselor that serves from the TK8 positions and one that serves from 7-12, so that we're able to have representative voice in that respect as well. It would also increase, you would also have the same number of administrators, but split them evenly between the TK8 council and 2 members to serve on the 7-12 council. So in doing that, the whole point and purpose of that change is because of the many things going on in that college career indicator. We're going to have a lot of work that's going to start appearing that is going to be driving through the middle schools and the high schools in particular. And we want to have people from the most informed position and also from great expertise, be the ones that are there to make that decision and make that recommendation to council to then bring to the board. So that's part one of that report, is the proposed language changes to Board Rule 6142.
Okay. Any comments?
Yeah.
Wait, we'll do public comment first. Let's do public comment first.
Hi, Hans Bailey Garcia. Actually, Michelle Orgon, our former president, is ill and unable to attend. So she brought this up at executive board, and so I'd be happy to share her thoughts. The fact that we have gone from being a high school assistant superintendent, that's not the word, secondary, elementary superintendent, to two different areas, that is a concern that curriculum council would be going back to the thing that we just changed from as far as having people supervise. This in regards to the change to the rule on board policy for the composition of curriculum council. First, this was not done as collaboratively as it was updated with in the past. In 2018, the superintendent, Dr. Washer, presented to Leah. Leah then brought it to curriculum council members and executive board. We discussed language and brought it back to Dr. Washer. It went back several times. Then it went to full curriculum council, and after changes, it then came to the Lodi Unified School District Board, School Board. Curriculum council members should have formal input along with Leah Board and Leah Rep Council. I believe that you also see the importance of curriculum council, especially when curriculum comes to you. Our last curriculum council meeting was our first meeting together, and it was more of an organizing meeting. There wasn't the opportunity to draft and discuss the new language, then send to other groups to discuss. Executive board had little to no time to view and discuss. Although our new assistant superintendent has worked with curriculum councils in other districts, I do not believe Lodi wants a weaker teacher voice. Please consider adding members to curriculum council for underrepresented groups like teachers, like preschool and transitional teachers. I respectfully, Michelle Orban, disagree that the committee should be split. Leah and Lodi USD is unified. Our voice should be unified. We should have more vertical articulation on all things curriculum. We should not be dividing curriculum council. The historical knowledge and progression over curriculum is very important to all teachers, which impacts all students. Please help to retain the curriculum council as a whole body. I'd be happy to discuss this with you. Thank you for considering a no vote on the policy change as opposed for tonight's meeting. Please consider tabling it so Leah and Lodi USD can have more dialogue on the matter. Thank you. Hobble away now.
Hi, members of the board, President Knackvick, Mr. Young. I'm here to speak about special ed. In this, you see that in the suggestion, there's 2 and 2. Special ed is very different in the fact that we're more like 3 or 4 very distinct groups. We have structure or mod severe, mild mod, RSP, and then medically fragile. We all need curriculum because all these students deserve to be taught and to be raised up to their highest potential. With 2, you could have 2 RSP teachers and 2 mild mod. They don't, with all due respect, they don't know the mod severe world. And our mod severe curriculum is suffering because of it. So I would recommend that you do expand this group, but expand the special ed part to cover all the areas of, or more areas of special ed. Thanks.
I am very lucky that I have a great team who kind of did a lot of my bullet points for me. So a few years ago, we split having associate superintendents by grade level, elementary and secondary, to having an area model so we could articulate, from kindergarten to 12. Personally, I think that needs to now be expanded to TK, to adult, because we do have adult education as well. And with universal preschool, and actually adding preschool, we already have preschool. If we do universal preschool, that's going to have to be added as well. So as a middle school teacher, and Ms. Alexander knows this, we have to look at what is the expected knowledge the kids are going to come into us with. And then we have to look on the back end and say, what is a teacher who's going to get this student next year? What do I have to make sure that they have so that they are prepared? And that's one reason that curriculum council works, is because for those of us who have served on it, we've gotten to have that whole broad view. I'm just gonna tell you, I've spent several years on curriculum council. I felt it was one of the most impactful things I did on behalf of the district. Because I got that broader view that a lot of my teachers didn't. And I got to bring that back and talk to my other teachers and say, yeah, I get what you're saying, but, you have to look at this bigger picture. And that kind of, did some shifting. So I did go to the first curriculum council meeting as a non-voting member, and they actually asked for more meetings to get stuff in sooner, because a lot of our curriculum needs to be done on the front end rather than on the back end. And the way this is written, it says 1 meeting per quarter. Typically, high schools have their catalogs done by January. So if we're adding high school courses in, that has to be done at the beginning of the year. We can't wait. It doesn't, if we pass something in fourth quarter, that's not going to be a course that's going to be available probably in high school at least that next year. It's going to skip an academic year because it won't be in the course catalog. So that's one of the things I have a problem with, is how this is written. The other thing is, it says the way it's written is that it limits 1 release day per year instead of a release day for every meeting we have. And I don't think it should be limited to 4 meetings. I actually already expressed this with Dr. Horton. Because sometimes if there's a lot of curriculum, if there's things coming down the pipe, that we are doing, say, an adoption for English, which would go from kindergarten to high school, there's a lot of different parts to that. It's not going to be one curriculum for the whole fit. So we might need more time, more than 4 meetings a year. And the other thing too is VAPA CTE are not included in the list. So yeah, there's a lot of issues I have with this. I would love that if we could sit down with Curriculum Council and LEA, work out some of these, and then bring it back. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Board, do we have any comments? Mr. Alexander?
I had a couple of questions, actually. When I'm looking at the split, as a middle school teacher, and what Ms. Wilkins said, it was hard to articulate with the elementary. We're stuck in the middle. And so seeing that, and I don't quite understand how Council 1 has grades 6 to 8, and then Council 2 has 7 to 8. Can you explain that, Dr. Horton, why it just seems you have 2 groupings? Am I missing something?
No, you're not missing anything. Just looking at the grade spans, we had TK2 as 1 span, then 3-5, and so in order to represent from 6 to 8, I mean, it could have been just as easy to put 3 through 6 together. It was just done to have just an even distribution.
Because I was looking at, okay, so if I'm a 7th grade teacher, do I go to Council 1 if I want to do this, or do I go to Council 2? That could be confusing. And as we talked last week about how the college career indicator really is a 5th grade up, I'd like to see that consistency there, maybe bringing in. I'm a little bit worried about separating them out like this, I guess, and worried that it's not going to be as cohesive as it is. I think cohesiveness between all of them and being able to, I haven't been on the curriculum council, but what their recommendations have been over the year and everything, they're kind of like, okay, curriculum council recommended this is how we should kind of guide the way. I'm a little bit nervous about some of the language on here, and hope that we can get it cleaned up. The other thing is about the release days. I feel that anybody who's serving on this council should have the release days that they need, because this is a super important group.
Any other comments? So, just to clarify for me, you are actually adding more teachers to this than you had before, if I'm
reading this right. That's correct, and there would be middle school people on both the elementary and on the secondary council.
Yeah, because it's important to have folks on the firing line to be there, so if you're adding one, I think it's a good thing. Okay, Dr. Ball.
Quick question, Dr. Horton. I may have missed it, but is there a place where this council reports to the city board? And if they do, how many times a year?
How many times they come back to the board?
To the board, to report what they met about?
They could report every time after their session, but usually it'll be because of the work they accomplish there. So if they recommend a textbook adoption or a course of study, then that work would directly come back to the board for voting and approval. So their work is generally transparent that way, that whatever was completed there comes to the board for final ratification.
Any other board comments? Okay, thank you, sir.
Go back to
The next one here is,
He's gonna. So that's one part of the college and career indicator, was the board rule itself. And once Michael opens up the other one, he can continue with the components of this.
Very good. So from a previous board meeting before the study session, there was a comment made, and so we went back and did a little bit of work on that, on what it would entail if we were to really take a deep dive into the college career indicator and to improve the work that we do there. In doing that, we looked at some proposals that we could make to the board as a couple of choices to gather direction from the board. One would be if we were to look at having an administrator and a counselor on special assignment be part of that team. Another choice B would be if we had a teacher on special assignment and a counselor on special assignment be part of that team. The idea of that would be to have people that are directly responsible for the overseeing of the entire college career indicator. As you heard last week in the study session, there are many moving parts to the college career indicator. It's extremely complicated and best done one piece at a time. So if we're looking at having improvements, for instance, the AP college taking, you have someone that becomes their focus, so they really drill into that. If we talk about raising the college courses that are taken and passed by our students, we have to have someone that is looking after that. It can't be that it's left to chance. I guess what I mean to say then is, if we don't make a really direct push into doing something different about the college career indicator, I can probably predict with great precision what your results will be in the next year. It won't be much different than what we've had before. So if we want a different result, we have to have a different input. And one of those key inputs is the liaison work that those people can do with outside entities. So for instance, already we're building a strong conversation with Delta College to look at how to get our students more access to more classes from more positions where they are. So we don't depend solely on the middle college high school to be a place where the students can do that work. They can do it there, certainly, but we also want to have a better pipeline at the comprehensive high schools so students don't have to leave their campus but can take college classes and be right there on their home campus. Those kinds of things require people that have that time, expertise, and skill to be able to reach out to those college people, to the deans and to the presidents and vice presidents of the colleges in order to make that connection. So again, it comes back to that thing of you get what you invest in. If we want to have this kind of a thing be a major focus for Lodi Unified, it would be our strong recommendation that we look at that, where we have some people that are very dedicated to that work and have the expertise and skill to be able to do that outreach to kids, parents, and outside entities. So that's what that second proposal is to consider having some personnel added. One final piece that I would throw in there when we've done a bit of our homework on that is there are some soft monies, meaning grant monies, that exist right now that run through summer of 2026 that allow us to take some of that money, which is a perfect allocation, to put onto these kind of people where we're not committed to spending money out of the general fund or the LCAP just yet, and we can see what kinds of things we can grow and see what that produces before we take the commitment to say what do we do beyond that. So I kind of feel like if we decide to go after that, striking while the iron's hot, this would be a good opportunity to do it. while you still have some of that money where we can push it that way. It has to be spent before 2026 anyway, and this is the kind of thing it was dedicated to be spent on.
Any other comments? Sure.
Do we want to do public comments first?
Go right ahead.
Or no?
We didn't talk about this.
Oh, okay. Is there any other, okay. You don't have it? Okay.
And I'm hoping you're going to give the students an opportunity to talk, because this is really going to impact them as well, to get their comments. I agree that we need to do something about building a college career department. I would hope that we would have some conversations with LEA on how teachers can participate and give input on how this should be built. Yeah, so it doesn't say a lot about it, but I would love to see that. Get some teacher involvement here. And we also need to have student involvement, because this is something that's really going to affect them, especially in high school. So I would like to hear what the students want to say, and find a way in this, in putting together this college career department, that again, you have teacher input, you have student input, and this turns out to be something that is, I believe it would be beneficial for all of us, but we got to have everybody's input. What I see is a lot of this is kind of done in a silo, where an admin or even a teacher on special assignment says, well, I think this is what is going to be best. I think this is going to work, but they don't ask, and they don't get the input. And that's what I would like to make sure that is done when you go forward doing this, if you choose to do that. Thanks.
You done?
I don't know, do you want the kids talking or me?
No, go ahead.
I just was, I like a potential option C. Dr. Horton, after last week, I have to commend you and thank you again, because it was one of the most exciting study sessions in my time. And I see where your vision is, and I think I'm so on board with wanting to do that. An option C would be to, in a perfect world, have probably one of the best committees that I ever was on was the RVET committee, where we had admins, we had teachers working together, and it was amazing because of the input and because of that. I also feel that we need to have the counselors on. So I'd like to see an option C that says administrator, teacher, counselor, and then I love the idea of the students on that, because I'm so for moving this forward and taking that. So thank you for your time in this, and please don't take my questions as negative as that. It's like, let's make that perfect machine happen, because I think we can.
Okay, thank you. Comments?
Yeah, I'll go.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm for choice A, and we need to do this immediately. Delta College is already preparing their schedule for next year, and we are behind. Manteca, Aspire, I believe Tracy, Lincoln, and Stockton have already applied for the grants. We are behind. We applied for the grants 2 years ago, and that was stuffed for dual enrollment. It was brought out, I don't know what administrator stuffed it, but we brought it out, and there were a couple of counselors who were working on an application, and then it died. What people have to realize about college and CCI is college and career. It's very possible, and this is something that was brought up the other night, which again, I agree with Ms. Alexander. It was a wonderful evening to open the windows and doors and just let the air go through and see what we're doing. But with Choice A, you get an administrator that can systemically bring together all the departments, all the tentacles that need to be talking to each other. With that, it's not just us. You have to be employed by Delta College. They have to approve you. Now, in the career aspect of it, there are certificates that you can get in: dental hygienist, welding, electrician, plumbing, ag. I can go on and on and on. But these kids can slide in, have their A through G requirements, get a certificate, and go into an internship program immediately with the right articulation from this district. At the same time, we have kids that are getting college credit, which is transferable, and maybe an AA. Middle college is a gem, and I've heard some murmurs that I'm against middle college. I am not. I think it's a gem, but it's limited. It's limited for special kids, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for those kids that maybe want to play sports, or maybe want to do something else, or maybe don't get in, we can offer these things at our 4 comprehensive high schools. You need one person in charge, one person doing the gathering of students. The person in charge has to do grants, they have to work year round. There is the CCAP, which is the College and Career Access Pathways that have to be out for students to look at. We don't have them. Who's going to do it? Not a committee. You bring 5 teachers together and you'll get a lot of talk, and I've been on those things. The hardest thing I've ever taught is teachers. 5 administrators and 5 teachers, you need a lot of talk. We need one person, or that person corresponds with cabinet and with you and Mr. Young. With that, of course, you have a counselor. They'll bring the students in and show them the pathways. Maybe go to all high schools. Get the information out. Get it clear so that these kids can look at careers. The Wall Street Journal just did a big article on the new millionaires are electricians, plumbers, anybody working in the trades. Wall Street Journal. We're going to give them certificates. We can do this, but we're already behind. And we've got to do this quickly. Because we're already behind with Delta. I know Delta thinks we're woefully behind compared to other school districts. So, my suggestion, this is just me, and I've done some research on this. Choice A is it. We hire an individual that has a college administration background, high school career background, somebody that has done a lot of work coordinating this, has a background in it, and then we get a counselor with the same thing. We can't bring in our current administrators because they don't know anything about Delta College. They might have gone, which is fine, but they don't know about articulation. They don't know the players. You need to bring somebody in that is a player, that knows the teachers, knows what's needed. You don't need a master's to teach welding in this apprenticeship. You need to have what they call mastery, where you are certified, so to speak, in your trade. And these kids could learn them. And what I'm reading with emotional intelligence and getting kids not bored at school, finding things that they can bite into, and then take that a step further and look at high school as, wow, I can see a pathway where I enjoy auto mechanics, I enjoy welding, I want to go to medical school, I want to be a dental hygienist. And Lodi Unified is giving me a pathway for that, and I can see.
Yeah.
And that's what we need, and we need one person for that. And we need a strong counselor for that. And we need the pathway set up. And we need the grant writing. And we need the articulation. And you can do that. And choice A is the only choice for me. I know teachers, they're awesome, but they don't have the expertise with the junior college. And we need that. And they don't have the expertise with the high school, because you're bringing together 2 different entities. Talk to a junior college professor and they say, work on Friday? What? High school? What are you talking about? We blow through 5 days a week. Bell schedule? We don't have that. But you got to bring somebody that can bring the players together and articulate. There is a lady over at Delta that is willing to work with us. We just need to go out and get the right people. They're not going to be there. You have somebody that has expertise to do that, knows everything involved, you can do. Choice A is my choice. I want to go with it. I think it's great. I like what you brought forward. And I also like what you're doing with the curriculum council. Well needed. How can somebody like me, AP biology teacher or bio teacher, talk about an elementary or first grade curriculum? I don't know. I don't have the expertise. Now it's good that we're verticalizing, and I get it. I also like your overlap. With that, I need a little more information from you, which would be an email. But I like what you've got here. It's awesome. And I like where we're going. But let's put the pedal to the metal. Let's move the school district forward. Let's not be behind. Let's be ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir. In a short version, I think he might be right. I agree. Okay. Good.
When I look at this, choice A is clearly where I would lean, and nothing against choice B, but we've all hired you. You are our cabinet. I put my faith in you to figure out how to do this. The one piece that stands out to me again and again is that 12 months. When I look at choice B, we're limited on time and contracts. And so, like Mr. Porter said, we are behind. I want to play catch up as quick as possible, but I also want all parties to have a stake and a voice. But I think that is for you to figure out how to do. I just want you to bring a positive program back to us that's going to work, and it changes our test scores. What I like about this is not only are we giving students a choice, but we're also helping our community. If we can get those children that aren't going to a four-year school or wanting a specific degree and they want a trade, we are not only benefiting them the day they get out of high school, but we're benefiting our community. And so I think our community also needs students that are ready to go at 18. So I commend you again to echo my other board members. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, last week, was amazing what you brought to us. Appreciate it, loved it. Can't wait to see what you do with us. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then we move on.
One more.
Okay. Oh.
We'll bring something back to you next board meeting, lay it out there. I understand the different components that you as board members would like to see, and so we will bring something comprehensive for you to look at and take action on.
Okay.
What about the last part there, Mr. Young? Oh, you're going to talk about that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
One more piece for the board to consider. If the board would like to give us direction to come back, one of the pieces that we've been studying is board policy 6146.1, the high school graduation requirements. And in this case, it's the number of credits. Going and doing some study looking at some of our sister districts, especially the large ones, you can learn a lot from those systems that are double our size, like Elk Grove Unified and Corona Norco Unified. They sit currently at 220. And the reason that's an interesting number is if you look at the current 6-period day that our high school students have at the 3 high schools, so McNair notwithstanding, but the other 3 comprehensive high schools, if a student were to take their 6 classes every day, both semesters, all 4 years, 240 credits. If they pass all their classes, 240 is the magic number. When you back it down to 220, that also allows for seniors to also be able to qualify as receiving full ADA for participating in a 4-period day as a senior and still graduate on time at 220. By putting it at 230 now, you have artificially increased the number, but you also make it tighter on the margin of error. If students stumble or fumble anywhere along the way, you now reduce the opportunity for them to graduate on time. The other thing that it squeezes that makes it very difficult in this college career indicator world is until we're able to solve to get to a 7-period day, the challenge you're going to run into over and over is students who want to take 4 years of AVID, 4 years of band, they want to be in junior ROTC, any of these kinds of things that gobble up a lot of space in the schedule but are incredibly valuable programs. It is almost impossible for them to keep that schedule and that pace. It puts the kids, their parents, families, whatever, in a situation they have to do summer school and other kinds of creative things to try and loosen up the schedule, because the difficulty for a sophomore and a junior to squeeze classes into it, it's next to impossible. So a recommendation back to the board would be, if you'd like to give us direction to tune that up and bring back some language of what it could look like, to bring it to 220 until such time as we're able to get to a 7-period day at the other 3 comprehensive high schools. I would strongly advise that.
Okay.
Ms. President, can I
let's,
ask
hang on a minute. Is there any public comments before we move on to the board? Student comments?
Can we hear
Okay.
from our students? I'm just curious.
I just asked.
About if as seniors, do you feel that you've had to crunch your schedule together? Do you feel like, I guess I'm wondering if you felt like you didn't take classes because you couldn't fit them into your schedule?
Yes, and that happens often a lot at McNair, especially for kids who, like me, who want to take like a certain amount of APs. This year I had to drop my AP, my AP Calc, just so I can accommodate to my AP Econ. And that happens often a lot in the campus, even for freshmen. If, for example, a freshman wants to take like quad or theater, but that's not possible because they have other classes to accommodate because of our block scheduling. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I think this personally does affect, because I do notice like we have our freshmen or even other grades that have to take a study skills that don't have a choice of having as many electives or choices of other classes as many other students because they fall behind. And I think that it would be beneficial because I think we need to give those kids the same opportunity that even though they have to take a step back and learn things just a different way and at a slower pace, that they shouldn't be punished that they can't get the same amount of electives as the other students.
Thank you.
Okay, any other? Well, I can say that I am definitely in favor of doing whatever we have to do to make electives and other types of classes available to more students. Ms. Porter, you have a question?
Yeah, we're bringing on board ethnic studies, we're bringing on board financial literacy. And those are college graduation requirements. Which means we're gonna get squeezed no matter what. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. So we could wait, or the board could take action. It's a twofold. You've got to change the schedule and your graduation requirements. You can't do one versus the other. So this board is being challenged right now to find a schedule that is a 7-period day that will be able to allow students, like we just heard, flexibility, at the same time deal with what's being put forth by the state, and improve their ability to take extra classes, say through apprenticeship programs or whatever we offer through Delta College. How do we do this? Right now, I think this board needs to take a strong stand on picking or selecting for both the 3 high schools and then implementing a plan for McNair where we go to a 7-period day. Why McNair? If you read anything from Hattie, you'll say that a block schedule does not prove educational learning at all. There's no statistical evidence to show that it does anything for student achievement. So we can bring all 4 on eventually. How do I say that? How do I want to do that? We need to work with all the teachers and the administrators in coming up with a 7-period day. That doesn't mean that the teachers at high school are going to be teaching 6 periods, as I've heard from so many teachers. It means that probably, if we go with the schedule that I would like to do, would be a 5-period day for them with 1 period prep. Also, it allows for intervention. As we move away from non-CP classes, we can bring in intervention classes, and we can bring in classes to help our EL students be more successful. And the 7-period day also allows for students to take classes they might want to take. For instance, my son, my oldest son, wanted to be taking auto mechanics, but because of the inflated GPA and his desire to be valedictorian, he wasn't allowed to do that. It was a travesty. He wanted to do it. He likes cars, and he's pretty smart at it. But the point is, he wanted to get to that one goal. I would love to see a 7-period day for all our students. So this board needs to take action. We cannot rely on one high school do one thing, another high school do another thing, and another high school do another. We have to be unified, and we have to provide leadership. With that, bring our units for graduation where the cabinet says they can do. So we need proposals. And I, for one, would like to see proposals on a 7-period day. Use Palo Alto Unified as an example, or other schools that are doing 7-period days. Bring them forward to us so we can look at it, hopefully squeeze in the minutes that we need to, hopefully get LEA to get on board with us and help find solutions, and get this solved quickly. Again, this is something that needs to be done, and I'm talking done with it by January. We need to get it done. We're behind, and let's be forward in our thinking. So that's where I am. I'm for a 7-period day, and I'm for increasing our units, And I'm also for students being able to take what they want and fit some other things in that maybe they couldn't take, okay? So that's where I stand in terms of the graduation requirements. And it's twofold. You gotta have a 7th grade day.
Well, once again, I'm in agreement with you, Mr. Porter. That's two. I don't know.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I think that it's a great idea to increase the periods. But the administrators here are responsible to initiate this at these high schools. Other than that, the high schools actually, when they change their schedules, they have a say-so. The teachers have a say-so to do that. And I think, I don't know if the LEA has any negotiations on it. My experiences have been that at the end of the school year, there was a complete change in curriculum when I went back. And the teachers were responsible for this during the summer. So I don't know, maybe we can initiate more classes by doing that and providing the students with the rigor that we need to have in order for them to succeed. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? All right, let's move on then.
We have what we need, thank you.
Okay. Where are we? Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, the expanded learning opportunities, again. Mr. Horton.
I turn this over to Jose Maciel, our coordinator of expanded learning, to describe this situation for us.
Be happy to. Good evening, President Connextad, members of the board, Superintendent Young. My name is Jose Maciel, as Dr. Horton said, and I'm pleased to present an overview of Lodi Unified's Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Plan, and essentially provide you an overview of what this plan proposes, and also share a little bit about the history of the plan. This plan was originally proposed and approved by the board in 2022 as it embodies our district's commitment to California quality standards for expanded learning. The program plan submitted for your review today ensures that we create a safe, supportive, and enriching environment for our students beyond the traditional school day. The plan aims to address the academic, social, emotional, and physical needs of our students, providing support that extends the learning experiences. The California Department of Education offers expanded learning programs like ours, ongoing funding to be provided specifically for before school, after school services, intersession, and summer programming. Our ELP programs are currently available across 36 elementary and middle school sites from school dismissal until 6 p.m. every instructional day, all at no cost to families. We also offer a 9-hour program during our fall, spring, and summer breaks, all designed to curb learning loss during extended school breaks. This gives our students consistent access to engaging and educational activities year-round. Our programs are successful thanks to the collaborative partnerships we have cultivated with community organizations like the City of Lodi, the City of Stockton, Alable Learning, the Table Foundation, YMCA of San Joaquin, and University of the Pacific. Over 300 team members staff ELP programs across the district, bringing unique skills and passions, all serving approximately 6,000 students each school year. As our ELP program continues to grow, we are seeing an increasing need for dedicated space to accommodate more students while maintaining our high-quality standards. To address this, and as noted in the plan, we are proposing adding portable classrooms at key school sites that have been highlighted as lacking dedicated space for ELP's programs. These dedicated spaces will help us meet the following 3 essential key needs. Space for growth. Additional classrooms will allow us to serve more students while ensuring each child receives quality care and attention. Second, a consistent learning environment. Dedicated classroom will let us set up stable, age-appropriate resources and labs, learning environments, maker spaces, and giving students a familiar, engaging space to learn and grow. And third, safety and supervision. Dedicated spaces will enable better supervision and support, improving each student's experience. A secure setting for our staff as well, to plan, organize, and also provide storage supplies. And to make this plan both effective and financially feasible, we are currently working closely with the district's M&O team to obtain quotes and ensure that these additions stay within our budget. I do want to emphasize that this funding is part of our ELOP grant and is specifically designed for expanded learning programs, and it cannot be used elsewhere outside of, programs that are specifically dedicated to expanding learning programs like ours. This proposal supports our mission to providing safe, nurturing, and enriching environments as the demand grows. And I'd like for you to consider this and take this information under consideration for perhaps a future approval in the following board meeting.
Okay, is there any public comments?
Yes, I have.
Hang on.
Jose.
Hang on.
I'm sorry.
Hang on. I didn't see it. Student comments? Okay, now Mr. Noble, you're up.
Oh, thank you, sir. I lost my train of thought when you were going.
Sorry.
But anyway, no, my question was, Jose, I know that you mentioned 6,000 students and that. How many, on the average, do we have in the elementary schools that attend this after-school program that you have?
The bulk of the students are in the elementary, and we have close to 2,300 students to 2,500 students attending elementary programs year-round.
Okay, are these students are repeaters, or do you have the same kids all the time that attend that, or do you have different students that come in?
Good question. We have different students. Some students opt out of the regular school year expanded learning program, such as the after-school program, and just opt in for the summer programs, and vice versa. We have some students that opt in for after-school programs or participate just for intersession, such as spring and fall, or summer. And so there is various students, and it is a free-flowing program where students can opt in to one program and opt out during the summer program or intersession program.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when we're looking at, thank you, by the way, for this presentation. It's a wonderful program. When we're looking at approximately 2,300 students, are you talking that we have potential to grow to 6,000, or is it that it's kind of a revolving?
So when you account for the summer programs, we account for 6,000 aggregated students that are participating in our programs in one school year.
Are we turning students away at all at this point?
We are. We are at capacity at all of our elementary school sites. So we do have a wait list that is substantial, some more at some school sites than others, and we are focusing on addressing our wait list numbers. And this is one of the reasons that we've identified these specific school sites so that we can increase the number of students that are currently participating in our programs.
Is there a number you're heading toward as far as optimum that you'd like to increase it to?
We'd like to increase participation to 120 students at our elementary school sites. That is our goal.
Awesome.
We are currently about 90 students, so we do have room for growth.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Ms.
I have
Farley.
one more question. Are you talking adding portables to take care of this, and where are they conducted out on campus now? Is it in the cafeteria or multi-purpose room, or?
We are conducting our program in various spaces. Multi-purpose room is a popular space. We have large groups in the multi-purpose rooms. We're also conducting our program sometimes in common areas, such as in between portables, or outside areas under umbrellas or under patios, and just any type of shelter that we get. Sometimes some principals are accommodating at some school sites where we are offered classrooms. Sometimes a number of teachers are participating in our programs, so their classrooms open up to our programs, and that's really where we want to reach, is where we start using more and more classrooms. And so we're asking for dedicated spaces, places that we can call our home base for our staff and our students, and we want to create labs and special resources where we can stabilize and leave up for our kids to use on a continual basis, so we don't have to put it away for the next school day.
So you're telling me you're hauling everything in each and every day?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thank you. That's.
Dr. Ball.
Thank you for this program in itself. Question for you about the grant. Is it an ongoing grant, and for how many prior years have we utilized it?
It is. So the ELOP grant was first funded in 2021, 22 school year. The CDE has committed ongoing funding, and it has shown ongoing funding to be determined. And so this is all one-time funding, and so this certainly helps us, as we continue to grow, utilize our funds. I do want to make note that if we don't utilize our fund within the 2-year window, which is our funding cycles, the funding has to be returned to the CDE. And so it is my job to fully maximize this funding with finding resources as such to help our programs grow.
Continuation to that question.
Yeah.
The funding that we have currently available, is it just sufficient to run the program and get the portables, or is it not sufficient for any kind of permanent structure?
It is sufficient.
Just for what we are doing currently?
Yes. And so we plan to continue to receive additional funding, and as we receive more funding, we will plan accordingly to accommodate the demands of our program.
Just thinking out loud, is it not possible to utilize the funding for permanent structure for elementary school sites on an ongoing basis, and it can be shared with the TK classroom? Like it's, so we don't go into the portable situation again.
Edith, can you respond to that? You have answers to the, I mean, because we have modular and then permanent modular, could it become a permanent structure?
The modulars would cost more, thus reducing the number of sites that they could expand their program to. In addition, I believe that Jose has some very specific funding requirements, so this funding would be used specifically for this purpose.
Thank you. Thank you, it's a great program. I know kids who utilize it and they're ever so grateful.
All right, any other board comments?
Yeah, I have a shout out for Dr. Ward. I met the University Pacific coordinator, and he is actually the clock keeper for St. Mary's and for the University Pacific water polo. He's Hungarian, and he said it was a pleasure to meet you, and found you very interesting and very intelligent. Uh-oh. Yeah.
Is that
Always trying to get more money out of
Okay. Okay, any other board comments? How about board advisory committee reports?
Mr. Chairman, there's no budget.
No, yeah, okay, then we're done.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're down. What? That's what we're going right now, board comments.
Sure, I'll
Okay.
start.
Oh, I'm sorry. Way to go, man.
I forgot you were sick. Sorry about that.
Thank you so much.
That's going to stay there.
They moved on.
That's terrible.
Now,
Board comments.
thank you.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Lodi Middle School, Christy Hyland, Lauren Schwabauer, and Ashlyn Laughlin. The night before Halloween, took 9 8th graders to Dinner with a Scientist at the county office, which is an incredible program put on every year, and I love that they participated. Students get to sit and talk. They loved Ron Coleman, who's a fish biologist, and they were saying, he gets paid to go swim with the fish, and what a cool job. And I thought, anything we can do to get our kids excited about science, shout out to them. And I want to thank Michelle for putting on such a wonderful it's not a holiday, a Halloween festival. All I can say, Mr. Young, is psst, and keep it at that.
Okay. I don't know sure what that one was.
You had to be at the cost.
Oh, okay. Are there photos?
Oh, there's photos.
Oh, okay.
Talk about 2 a.m. letters from me. I'll come back.
There you go.
Any other?
There are pictures and it's not good.
Okay, I just want to give a couple shout outs too. One is to meet Needham West again. I went and visited Lisa Chase and her staff, and I really like what they're doing, moving along the students and young adults to get them ready for the real world. And I'm still impressed with the program, and I talked to the teachers, and it's all, they're all really working as a team, and they want to see success. And there's some things there. So anyway, just a quick shout out to them. And also today, Mr. Young and I both attended for a while. and I went for a longer while. We were at the drum making at Washington School. Principal there, Gina, drawing a blank on her last name.
Gina Lopez.
Lopez is part American, Native American, and also she got brought into Native American, not from this area. The woman's actually Apache, and I think is from the Elk Grove area. But she's a drum maker, and she's done it for years. And so, using the drum as an art project, she also taught Native American culture to the students that were doing it. And we both got to make a drum, so they're drying for a couple days, and we're going to do the artwork on it. So that was kind of fun, and it was really nice to see, you know, art being mixed in with other things, because I think it's important. And although she made one mistake, and that was saying elk were the biggest American deer, and actually it's moose. That's really bad. Gotta come from a hunting background.
That's a Jeopardy moment that I'm not.
But anyway, it was a really wonderful thing, and seeing all the buy-in from the kids, and Neil singing the Scooby-Doo song. So.
Oh, I was waiting for you to sing it, Mr. Stroh.
Okay, any other board comments? Well, I just have one. It's kind of a complaint, and it's not about having to run for re-election. It's, I hope you're getting used to the time change. I don't really care if we stay on standard time or daylight savings time. I just wish who's ever in charge of time would just pick one and stick with it. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Thank you, folks.